All right, hello, greetings, and welcome everyone to this news video. The topics for today we are going to be covering are as follows. Hey, yo, what? Honda on EVs. Sony Honda pre-production. Beta is back home. Static motor. Aptera's next update predictions. Aptera Solar patent is rejected. Ford's Model T promise. Zaptera's Amendment. Catl sodium batteries, why China is winning green energy, and things that I liked. Let's get started. Alrighty folks, we are starting this video on my page because, ayo, what is this about? There is a very generous super thanks donation from a gentleman by the name of Mark Vanyo 4302. I don't know, sir. Like when I saw the little notification for this, I was like, I was scrolling through my phone. I'm like, oh yeah, so there's a donation here. Oh, cool. That's probably like, $4, $5, $10 maybe, So I saw the $5 and then I opened the rest of the message. And then I saw the encouraging amount of zeros, and I'm like, wait, what? Like, yeah, jaw dropped to the floor. Had to tell my wife, had to tell the family. This is by far the largest donation I have received for the channel. So thank you very much, Mark. If you did this by mistake, that is okay. I will not be mad at you if you say like, whoops, I meant 50 or something like that. But if you did mean 500, bro, appreciate you 1000%. Yeah, that was about all I wanted to say about that. Good to go, Mark Vanyo. Vanyo? Yeah, thank you so much. And yeah, let's keep rolling. Okay, so Honda being Honda again, talks about why they don't think that electric cars are the final goal of their company. Spoiler alert, if you know anything about Honda, you know exactly why they are saying that electric cars are not their goal, their end goal rather. And it has everything to do with hydrogen. So if you have ever heard of hydrogen powered vehicles, they were touted as the next big thing after gasoline because they are hydrogen engines are either combustible or fuel cells, depending on the situation. Long story short, this technology was touted because of the fact that it was supposed to be more efficient than regular ICE engines, which it was, and it was also supposed to become ubiquitous. The problem was adoption was not that great, and storage and containment of hydrogen gas is, in a word, very difficult. Very difficult, like so much so that it is in a lot of ways next to impossible to keep the gas from actually leaking out of the container, regardless of how thick or sturdy the container is, because hydrogen atoms are just that small that they can just pass through just about anything that you put around it to store it. So yeah, they're basically, Honda here is saying that, yeah, we're gonna lean into hybrid vehicles, we're gonna lean into hydrogen vehicles, we're gonna lean into all of these outside technologies as well, including battery electric technologies, and make a holistic approach to renewable energy vehicles and things of that nature. They're trying to make an entire holistic ecosystem, and I appreciate the fact that they have not completely abandoned electric drivetrains. Yeah, it's encouraging that is the case, but the scale back in a technology that there are other factors to think about. Like, there's other people that are doing electric vehicles to the point where they are more or less ubiquitous in their countries, and we're going to talk a little bit about some of those later. But yeah, just generally speaking, this is a very Honda thing to say. Yeah, we're just going to focus on everything and put R&D all over the place because we're not sure. even though it is very clear that electric vehicles are very very here to stay, I guess you could say, because their uptick is insane. Like their adoption is insane. So yeah, just a lot of what you would expect from Honda. I'm not mad at them for this move, but I do feel like researching everything when the path forward is clear it kind of feels off or unusual, or there's something else behind this decision. I don't know if you guys remember me talking about it, but generally speaking, Honda is very invested in the infrastructure that is gasoline vehicles and things like that. So maybe that is part of why they're leaning so hard into hydrogen, so that they can use similar systems and similar types of motors and engines to utilize hydrogen power that they would use for fuel, like gas engines and stuff like that. So I don't know what is behind this move, but I do know that this is a very Honda thing to say and a very Honda thing to do. Just that's been their history, is to lean into different things and experiment and see what works. So I really do hope it bears fruit, but if history is any indication, it could just be a massive waste of money. We'll see. Speaking of leaning into a lot of different things, Sony and Honda's first EV enters pre-production in Ohio. So if you guys remember the Aphila, the vehicle that I kind of had featured a little bit in my coverage when I went to go see Aptera this past event here, I did take a few pictures of Aphila, and I showed those pictures in my breakdown of the entire CES event. Yeah, it was an interesting looking car for a lot of reasons, an interesting seeming car. I hope that it is everything that they say it is. I'm gonna block that. But yeah, I hope it is everything that they say it is, and that it lives up to the hype and all that kind of jazz. Yeah, we'll see. I'm cautiously optimistic for this one, because this could be the catalyst that helps Honda realize EVs are basically the best way forward. So we'll see how it goes. All right, so the beta vehicle is back in the Aptera facility after a long journey and a lot of testing. You can see here that it looks like it went through some stuff, getting beat up and banged up and what have you, throughout its testing on tracks and what have you. So yeah, it's really cool to see that they got their vehicle back in the shop. I don't know what exactly this vehicle will be used for at this point, but it is really cool to see that it's there. Okay, so ordinarily I'd be playing the clip of this video as I'm talking about it, but I did not get a reply from the owner of the channel in time, so I'm just going to go ahead and forego the madness that could be copyright claims and all that jazz. So this video is about electrostatic motors, which remind me a lot of electric motors conceptually, with like a different execution. Electrostatic motors are kind of like they run on electricity but through static. Yeah, it's an interesting technology, one that focuses more on torque than it does horsepower. For that distinction, if you guys are unaware, horsepower is fast and torque is strong. That was the way that it was put to me when I was learning how to work on cars when I was a kid. I know that was a very distinct oversimplification, but that's basically what I was told by my mother's boyfriend / later husband. But yeah, so anyway, if you want torque is for doing really heavy, hard manual labor, like pulling something gigantic. Semi trucks tend to have a lot of torque. But if you want to go fast, you have a lot of horsepower. Like the Bugattis of the world have a ridiculous amount of horsepower. Mind you, they still also have a lot of torque, but the horsepower is what gets them to go speedy like. So yeah. Anyway, electrostatic motors are more torque heavy than they are horsepower heavy, as from what I'm understanding from the video and from what I could find from my brief searches online. But the motors themselves are actually really cool because they also have a really, really high power to weight ratio as compared to even some electric motors. So yeah, it's very interesting technology, and I hope it pans out. If you want to watch the full video on the pluses and minuses of this technology, I would suggest checking it out. It will be in the description. Okay, so this post was about Aptera putting together their video. They actually did an Instagram reel where they were showing that they were actually recording for the next monthly update. I am guessing, and this is the guessing, the what do you call it, the predictions portion of this video. I would say that by the end of August, they're probably going to announce something. I don't know what they are announcing or what ramifications that will have for the future of the company, but I suspect that it'll be pretty interesting and pretty meaty because they've had a little over 2 months, and I'm guessing that it's going to be significant. Now, I don't know that for a fact. Like I said, I am not an insider. I am just a dude that talks about stuff on YouTube. So I could be completely wrong here, but I do think that this next one is going to be a little more interesting than normal, at least because there's a lot that they could announce that people have been speculating about. Yeah, just it looks like it could be an interesting event coming up at the end of August is my prediction for when they're going to be showing this particular video. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. Alrighty, so this next video, it is an Aptera Owners Club video where they talk about the Aptera Solar patent. They filed a patent some time ago that was that received its final rejection. Aptera Owners Club talks a lot about why that's not necessarily the final rejection, because they are actually already submitting other documentation and new patents for their solar technology to better explain what is going on. Because a lot of what Aptera Owners Club was saying is that the patent may not have been put together as well as it could have been. So yeah, I'm hopeful that they will still get this patent because it is very interesting technology that they have put together that I have not actually seen anywhere else. Bending solar panels on 2 axes. I tried that myself once when I was at the Aptera facility while they were talking about their solar technology. While Chris was taking me past the solar technology, I was trying to be subtle about bending the individual wafers to see if I could bend it on 2 planes, and let's just say that I could not without breaking the cell. So whatever they have done to make it possible to bend this solar cell on 2 axes is phenomenal. Yeah, I hope that they get the patent, and with the new patent, I think that they may do so. What I will probably end up doing in the description and whatnot is I will be putting the links to these patents that are talked about in the video. I will also be linking this video down below. Okay, so Ford was talking up this this next presentation that they were doing for their shareholders and investors and things like that, as the Model T moment for Ford, a new Model T moment. And as somebody who watched the entire thing and am not that impressed, I will say that the reason why I wasn't impressed is probably because he set this up to be such a pivotal and monumental event. If you guys are unfamiliar, the Model T is the first vehicle that Ford was able to mass produce. They invented the assembly line with this vehicle and made it basically ubiquitous as what a vehicle is and what it can be, because the production was solid enough that you could make a ton of these vehicles really fast, and they were pretty strong and built Ford tough back in that day. Was not necessarily the built Ford tough of the 60s, 70s, 80s, and that kind of thing, but it was built Ford tough for back then, and it was cheap because of the methodology that they, well, cheap compared to, you know, other vehicles, but not necessarily cheap in the economies of that day. Anyway, long story short, the Model T changed the game. And so when I went into this presentation, I was expecting a complete paradigm shift, a changing of the game that I did not see. I just did not see it. I do believe that it is great that they are finally modernizing to the types of technologies that are now ubiquitous in the EV industry, the skateboard platform and things like that. I'm glad that they're moving that direction, but that direction is not by any means a complete shifting or innovation or change of anything except for the way that Ford does things. Now, if they had figured out a way to put more batteries or something like that in the skateboard platform, or they had made the skateboard platform so radically different or better that, you know, everybody had to adopt it, then I would say, oh, that's definitely a Model T moment. But as it stands, this particular presentation was just, hey, this is what we're doing. And I was like, oh, cool. So you're doing what everybody else is doing. The Teslas and the Chinese companies of the world are doing. You're finally getting up to their level, kind of, hopefully. And yeah, that to me, that's not a paradigm shift like the Model T was. And so that's why I went in with such high expectations. And then I kind of felt like they let me down at the end of the day, because it was not a giant shift. It was more like, we're going to move into what everybody else is doing. Okay, and another video that Aptera Owners Club did, they put a... I just realized he changed his font. I'm not entirely certain why I didn't realize that until now. Anyway, he put out another video about the Zaptera's most recent filing. They filed a new petition, a new complaint. Yeah, basically they put in a new... more descriptive version of what the lawsuit was supposed to be about in the first place. And yeah, I believe that Steve is right here when he says that the case is going to move forward. I was really deeply hoping that they would be able to mitigate the entirety of the case just by, you know, throwing out the relevant evidence and that kind of thing, not having to do too much discovery or going to trial or things like that. But I do agree that they are probably going to go to trial, just simply because of the fact that even if I do not necessarily agree with or disagree with Zaptera's claims as they stand, I do think that they are going to be erroneous at the end of the day. And so having this whole lawsuit process is going to be just a drag on Aptera, and I'm not sure what Zaptera gets out of this except maybe their legal fees paid back or something like that. Who knows? I don't know how the case is going to shake out, but I do know that I agree with Steve here in saying that the case is probably going to move forward. Okay, guys, so I don't know if you remember when I talked about Catl's battery innovation. They put together a sodium battery, and in my head it was way farther from production than it actually is now that I'm seeing it again. Last time I said that basically they were going to be moving into production soon. I didn't know that soon was just a few months after the fact that they announced that that was the thing that they were going to be doing. Sodium batteries are supposed to be the next step in the technology for battery electric vehicles, mostly because of the fact that sodium is very cheap and abundant. And so because of that cheapness and abundance, they are believing that this is going to be the way to go once they get the costs of production down. The cost of manufacturing and stuff has to come down. But once those things come down to the same level as something like a lithium-ion battery, then these batteries will be 90% cheaper than what we are currently using in lithium-ion batteries, with similar but not quite the same energy density. So yeah, I'm very cautiously optimistic about this technology, especially since it already exists in products and they are building them out and figuring out how to manufacture them. It is, in my opinion, what might actually become the new standard after LFP or you know, whatever comes after that. Like the LFP change was something that I thought was going to stick around for a while, but if sodium remains rather as promising as it looks here and how it was presented by Matt Farrell, then I really do think that it's going to be something that will replace the LFP battery in the long run. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. I'm interested in the technology. I reported on it before as just another battery chemistry, and I'm like, oh, you know, there's a new battery chemistry every day, that kind of thing. The fact that they've come this far, this fast with this technology, it's got my attention. Okay, so there was an article by the New York Times. I actually had to subscribe to the New York Times in order to see this article. What I'm going to do is just talk about this single graphic, mostly because it has everything to do with why I believe that China has pretty much taken over in the solar wind battery situation. This graph shows the number of patents given to Chinese companies with respect to solar and wind and battery electric innovations and things like that. As you can see, China was last, and then they decided, you know what, we need to start investing in this stuff, and now they are first place. Another sidebar that I noticed about this chart is that the United States is in last place. I am a person who believes and believes in the fact that America should be first place. I don't know if this is a fact necessarily. This is more my opinion, but I feel like the U.S. should be on the top of everything. Like, they should be the best of the best of the best. The fact that they are last place here in these, in this chart at least, is expected, but still a little disheartening. I still want to see the U.S. on top. But yeah, this is the name of the game in today's society. If you own the intellectual property, the IP for whatever you are building, especially if it's on the cutting edge of technology, you will win. And so as it stands, China will win, and are winning when it comes to producing battery electric vehicles, efficient solar panels. You know, most of the stories that I've talked about for solar are all Chinese companies or Taiwanese companies, depending on the situation, producing this crazy amount of innovation in these fields. It's not looking that great for us in this particular line of technology if we continue on this path. But yeah, China's ahead of us and will remain ahead of us so long as they keep getting innovations and intellectual properties patented like they are. All right, time for things that I liked. So there was a video by a gentleman by the name of Hank Green who did basically this video talks about a bunch of different EV questions, and he goes about answering them in a phenomenal way, in my opinion. Very fair, very balanced, very information based. So I enjoyed him quite a bit. Please check him out if you haven't already. He is a fantastic YouTuber, and I liked this video quite a bit. Okay, so Sandy Munro went to Telo rather in order to check out their truck, and he walked away very impressed. If you guys want to check out the entire video, I will link it below, but basically he talked at length about how cool he thought the idea was and how innovative it looked to him and where it could be going and that kind of stuff. He talked about a lot of really good stuff with respect to Telo. He even gave a couple of little tidbits of advice and pointers and things like that. So very good video, very holistic video. Check it out, man, if you haven't already. It's just a phenomenal look at Telo in a way that we have not quite seen from a creator on YouTube that really knows his stuff. So yeah, man, go ahead and check it out, and good stuff, man. All right, folks, that will be the end of this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I am the Ninjaneer. If you guys have any thoughts, questions, comments, what have you, go ahead and put those in the comments below. If you would like to subscribe or do the other YouTubey things, please do those, and I will catch you guys next time.